You are watching CIOTV by Enterprise IT World, a production of Accent Info Media.
I don't call myself as the group IT manager or the CIO. I always like to call myself as the team leader of the IT team. And I always love to imagine myself as the first person of the team. I'm always the person who is on head of the team, not on top of the team.
Welcome to Partha Banerjee, Group IT Manager of a group of companies, to Enterprise IT World and CIOTV.live.
Thank you, and thanks a lot for having me here. It's really a pleasure.
Safir Group, as far as my knowledge goes, is into multiple business. These days, particularly, hasn't been so good for many of the organizations and those who are into retail and real estate. But how have you managed, how have you monitored and ensured that your people are working not only from the office, but also working from home,
Yeah.
and giving them safety and security?
It's an unprecedented situation, which I think mankind has not seen in the last century. And it seems that, we have been brought to the shores of a new world and the boats are being burnt. There's, hardly any, prospect in sight of, going back to the old world or the old normal as we now call it. Well, yes, Safir is a diversified group, and our major concentration is on retail. We have a production unit in Oman and our business units in Saudi, Kuwait, and Qatar. Now, I'm primarily responsible for the IT of the group. And see, when this pandemic struck, I think you would accept that it was very sudden. It was not that we had a prolonged time to plan and think about it and then plan and replan and organize our strategy. So there were a lot of things which had to be done on an ad hoc basis, out of which the topmost priority was definitely a few, as I may state. First, it was to maintain the business continuity. It was very, very important, particularly for retail. Business continuity is something which is absolutely imperative to stay alive. And then after business continuity was ensured, I immediately, concentrated on the reducing the volatility in the supply chain. Because supply chain, the entire market dynamics changed. The way people started shopping was not the way they used to do 3 months back. So there was a huge volatility which we experienced, and we had to quickly reshape our entire supply chain model to ensure that this volatility it could not be removed altogether, but we tried to optimize it. Yes, it did take some time to optimize it, but yes, we have been able to successfully do it. And I would like to thank the entire team, my whole IT team, my management, and then the marketing team, of course, our warehouse management. We all came together and we worked towards that. So this was the second. And the third thing which I would like to mention is about keeping in sync the online and the in-store experience for the customers. This is a very vital thing. I would like to mention here that when a business model changes and when it goes virtual, the customers have a tendency to link with the past. That how was my experience in the past? How is it now? And in any changed business model, or any existing business model, for that matter, retention of customers and repeat business is very, very important. So, and this, we sense that this could happen only if a customer had a very pleasant and synced experience of the online and the in-house marketing experience. Okay, like we try to remove the disparity between the online and the in-shop marketing experience for the customers. Yeah, and then Of course, the security models were immediately fine-tuned. We spoke to Etisalat for the bandwidth, and we went into some extra arrangements with them so that the bandwidth didn't falter. It was strengthened, and the security measures were immediately fine-tuned. A lot of sites were taken into consideration. Safety measures were upgraded, and then of course comes to the safety of the workers, which is definitely of a priority. So um, for the IT and for the warehousing, I immediately went for a safe distancing thing. Fortunately, we had space to accommodate that, so safe distancing was immediately put in place, and then I made it mandatory for all the IT and the warehouse staffs to use mask, especially those who were sitting in open offices, and use of hand sanitizers, and keeping the whole place disinfected. Like every week we have a full disinfection program which goes on even today. So this was done, and then since you mentioned work from home, I would like to state something here that unfortunately our business model doesn't quite support that, because of the daily invoicing, the daily business that happens across the counters in the outlets, and since we don't have an offshore data processing center, everything is done here in our local office. So the option for work from home for the entire office population was not there. So yes, but even then we selected some departments and some specific people within those departments who could be given that liberty of working from home, and we immediately tied up with a very secured remote connectivity solution provider. I may name it also. It was ACOPS Enterprise. So, and we shortlisted the employees, and we did all the technical configurations that were required, and they were asked to start working from home. But touch wood, now we are all back in office, and now normalcy has been restored as far as the office operations are concerned. So this is one thing. And then for, we have got two major verticals, the novelty and the FMCG. Now for novelty, we have multiple online marketing links. So those were upgraded. And again, I repeat that the supply chain volatility was taken into consideration. The supply chain model was revised. And then for the and for the FMCG, we started, quickly acting on a very stable and very easy to use online portal. So this is how we started doing it, and this is how we have been able to manage.
I think the February is the time frame, or early March, when people started detecting that something very unusual is coming. Did you have
Yeah.
any sense of tweaking your IT strategy, or you were ready earlier? And what is your IT strategy like? Is it a hybrid model, or in-house, outsourced to service provider? What is it?
To address your first thing first, whether we were ready, yes, we did have an anticipation. And me as a person always likes to keep things ready so that I can sleep when the wind blows. So I did keep certain things absolutely in place. They were ready on the table. But yes, to implement certain things, management approvals are required. IT just can't, by itself, IT can't go and implement. So what happened when it actually struck, we did not have to run helter-skelter there. We had things absolutely in place, and within a day or two, things were laid out. And now coming to the IT infra model, if you talk about hybrid, I don't know if you're talking about hybrid cloud or not, if you mean that. Well, no, we are not on cloud, Sanjay. We are all our infra, excepting some of our security solutions are on cloud because of the space and the latency and the redundancy which they offer. but our infrastructure is not on cloud. We have got data centers locally and then in DIC. So they were quickly reviewed, and we got in touch with the service to ensure that their backend was absolutely in place and shape, and redundancy was replanned, redundancy was checked and replanned. And so we really did not face a major shock when it actually struck.
All right. During this time, you must have heard the news. Big companies have been hacked. Big companies have been attacked by ransomware of different forms. Now, you also mentioned that some of your population, working population, you allowed them to work from home and give them certain solution. Accuse you mentioned, which is into backup, I think, secured backup. So what is the kind of security practice you had? Did you have BAPT regularly? What was it that you ensured the endpoints, so also you ensured your infra?
See, here I would like to mention that yes, we have or rather I should say a conservative approach as far as network access is concerned. We do not give network access to one and all. We do not give internet access to one and all. There are, see, ours is a very big organization. So, and no security measure, Sanjay, let me tell you, under the sun is foolproof. Nobody can claim that my security is foolproof. There will be chinks, there will be some ways, where breaches can happen. Now, what we can do is we can only take precautionary measures. We can ensure some safeguards, right? Nobody under the sun can claim that yes, I have done everything and my network is completely breach proof network. Nobody if anyone does that claim, good luck to him, and I would really like to learn from him how he was able to do it. So yeah, what we did is our conservative approach to network access and internet access did play a very big role here. And then, as I said in the beginning itself, as I mentioned that we fine-tuned our network security policies. Okay, all unnecessary and non-business domains were blocked. Now I'm going to the micro level of it. I don't know how far it is suitable to mention in this forum, but then since you asked for it, I'm saying just a small example that we did that, and including the mobile access also within the network of Safari domain. So we took that precaution in a broad scale. I'm saying right now, don't ask me to go into the details of that. That would not be fair to discuss in this forum. So we did that first. Then, as far as the backup is concerned, see, I always believe, and I have implemented this strategy of 1, 2, 3, or 3 to 1, as you may say, 3 to 1. 3 to 1 is that it is an instruction, it is an advice, a suggestion from the IT department to all the users that you always keep 3 copies of your backup. Out of that, you keep 2 copies in the cloud and keep 1 as an offline backup. So what I did was last year itself, much before the pandemic struck, as I said that, I always, keep things, I try to keep things as organized as possible. I implemented a client backup solution for all the major users, who were handling sensitive data. And so their data was secure. So we didn't have to worry about that. We didn't have to, go for a firefighting as far as that was concerned. So their data, all the vital data of the vital users, the important data of the vital users were already being backed up as a part of our local backup program. So, and we had a separate server for that, and completely an offline server besides the cloud backup. So it was there. Now coming to this home access, yes, we went for a solution which had a lot of security parameters attached to it, like USB was blocked, you couldn't take screenshot, you couldn't take printouts, okay? Net access was only through permission. Okay, so see, it is all about how you plan. Now, if you do not foresee, right, if you take things for granted, Sanjay, you are bound to, get hit at some point of time. No one can predict. If you're lucky, you don't get hit. If you're not lucky, you get hit. So it is always better to as they say, to keep yourself 1+ prepared for the situation. There is no harm. You can always do away with that extra delta factor once this situation hopefully normalizes. But at least that yes, I am at least one step ahead of what may happen if things deteriorate. So this is something which I did. And then from the policy point of view, from the IT policy point of view within the organization, even today, I regularly send out IT security mailers. What should you not do more than what should you do? Because the number of non-IT users is huge. The non-IT people in this organization, like any retail, the non-IT mindset people far outnumbers the people who have an IT acumen, right? So it's very important to keep them safe. We guys in IT, mostly we know how to keep ourselves safe, but those who do not have an IT acumen, it's very important for them to ensure that their setup, their environment is safe. So what I do is I send out these mailers right from the top level, because I know this policies, they always flow top down. I can't address a mid-level and then expect things to happen. That doesn't happen. So right from the BOD to the CEOs, these are sent out with a recommendation to circulate within their respective departments, and which I'm very happy to mention that they are complying to it. So every week I make it a point, one particular day of the week, these mailers are sent, and with small examples. And what I do is I always believe that a spoken word is many times better than a written word. So I ask my team, or even I myself get involved, record a small video, and along with the description of what you should not be doing, or what are the dangers that are lurking, or what are the threats that are perceived, this video is attached to that, so that they don't have a difficulty in reading and then understanding and then thinking that it's more of a lecture or a tutorial than the practical purpose. Okay, so this is the way I've been doing it, and so far, by the grace of God, so far so good, I should say. Yeah.
But the retail is changing now. Retail is moving into digital platform these days. So also Safir Group is changing and moving into the
absolutely.
digital
Yes,
platform.
yes. Yeah.
It requires lots of new modernization of activities in terms of IT. It
Correct.
requires robotics. It requires AI. It requires chatbots at the front end, RP at the back end, so that your code level requirement can be met or can be given service without any much of human interference.
Yeah,
so
true.
I believe you have a similar kind of projects in your hand. If you can throw some light on that.
Yeah, sure. See, this was identified quite some time back. This doesn't have a bearing to the pandemic. This was identified quite some time back, sometime say during last July, August. Now, when our SAP was more or less stable, we went live in Jan, and then it took some time to stabilize our SAP HANA S4. So when that was stabilized, I identified certain areas which were very error prone. And one of the areas which was identified was the area, the business data processing area. That particular activity was very error prone. Why? Because we receive huge number of invoices from all across the country from the branches, and till now we had a practice of entering them manually into the SAP system. Okay, and this was a very mundane and a monotonous job. And it's something like when your brain gets into a monotonous into a monotone, I should say, the propensity of errors actually multiplies, right? It's something like you're driving in a straight highway with no speed breakers. Very soon what happens to us. So it's something like that. Plus there was a security issue also. Okay, because the more human interference, the more of human interaction, the security is to some extent somewhere something that chance is always there. So this particular area was identified and prioritized. So what we have done is we have implemented an RPA for a complete processing of the business data, of the business transaction data, to be more precise, in the SAP. So this is an RPA which is now functioning across the outlets, and it has helped us tremendously. I mean, the extent to which the interactions have been speeded up, the errors have dropped, and it is very helpful for the suppliers also. So when you talk about changing of business, payment is important for all. Like payment is important for us, payment is important for the suppliers also. And it's always good to, sometimes wear your sub-supplier shoes and think that pandemic has not hit us alone. Pandemic has hit them also. If we can do something which can be of some use and of some mutual benefit, there is nothing wrong in it. It's all the way good. So now what has happened is, since this process has become very fast, the processing of the invoices and the DOs have become very fast, the payment process has also improved. And slowly the suppliers are also being happy that that delay which was there previously, which used to happen due to the manual process, has been very effectively been addressed. So we have done that. And once again, I have a fantastic team with me who have lined up, and our principals have also been very helpful for us. Now, once it is fully implemented and we go live, I would be happy to share with you the details of which RPA and with whom we tied up. Right now, you just got to excuse me in that I have a slight reservation in even expressing the details. Yeah. So I would definitely be happy to share it with you. I have a fantastic team which put in very hard effort, because this was something new for us. The entire concept was new, and not many retail outlets within this domain or within the country, I should say, have gone in for this extent of automation for the business data processing, live business data processing. This was something very critical. And just let me tell you in brief that the spectrum of the invoices, the spectrum of the design of the invoices, the print quality, the clarity of the the descriptions is so critical, Sanjay. It is so very critical that to automate the process is not a very simple thing to do. And yes, we took some time than it was expected, some more time than it was expected, but I'm happy that finally it's in place, and we are doing okay. Now we are planning to expand it to some other operations also.
Any other projects are there in the pipeline? I just asked you about a chatbot kind of thing for the customers.
I was just coming to that. Now, Sanjay, I as an IT person, I always keep people first before policies. Okay, and I firmly believe that no policy can be effective unless the people are involved. So if you implement a policy where you don't engage the people, or you don't involve the people with you, the policy is bound to fail. It just can't fly. Now, having said this, let me tell you something. I must keep in mind the market segment of Safir when I think about large scale automation projects. Now, chatbots, now I must keep in mind the segment, as I said, the segment of the market which comes to shop at Safir. How many of them would be very comfortable with using of chatbots? This is something which, every solution provider or every service provider, I feel, should keep in mind. We do not cater to a huge section of the elite market. Mostly our market segment is the mid segment. Okay, so there, even today, believe me, people like to pick up the phone call and ask. That gives them the comfort level. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm gradually making this progression. Okay, this transformation, I'm gradually doing it. I have not yet implemented chatbot because I know this could create more confusion and this could repel the customers more than, bring them back. And I cannot afford to do that. Keeping in mind the segment of the market and the percentage of the buyers who buy from. For the elite buyers, it's a very good concept. But again, I'm saying for the segment of buyers which Safir caters to. So I'm gradually doing this progression, this transformation, and soon we would have, particularly for some segments of the novelty business, but not all. We are still not mature enough to implement a to do a blanket implementation of chatbot, and I would not really prefer doing that. So yes, we are in the process. Very soon it will be in place.
All right. Now there is a question from everybody. In the sense, the mid-level management, even CIOs and CISOs are talking about that their budgets are getting squeezed from the management. The CFOs or the CEOs, whatever budget they had laid out, it is becoming hard for the decision maker or implementer to do more with the less.
Yeah.
So are you facing similar kind of thing, and
yes,
how
absolutely.
are you managing?
Absolutely. See, we are no exceptions here. I mean, we are very much a part of the same market which the entire globe is, and particularly which the entire region is. So we are no exception to it. And yes, now here, there's a very big issue of capex and opex. So what has been done? There is a crunch, and the crunch is not small. If I may say, that's quite big. So it is all about prioritization, that how the expenses are being prioritized. Now we have I have over since I had sense of this coming, I could sense this storm coming. I have been working on the priority services which IT has to provide to the business. Sanjay, see, let us face a fact. IT is a fascinating service these days. Everybody knows how much to expect from IT. IT should also know how much they can deliver. There is no fascination or there is no speculation involved here now. Those days we have outlived those days when you could imagine that one could also sweep the floor. No, these days I think all of us are out of that mental frame of mind. So now I have quickly done a prioritization. I shouldn't say quickly. I took some time to do a prioritization, and yes, we have been able to identify the priority areas. For example, like what should I say? We have worked towards decreasing the hardware footprints. This is we have done. And that is why I said that for some of the solutions, we went for a cloud managed services, especially the security ones, rather than maintaining those servers with us. We have gone for that. Then we have gone for managed services for our branches, again for the security, because that is of priority now. So see, if you see, some may ask me, why not for the entire IT infra? What would my guys be doing then? What would the support guys be doing then? Then a big question of per person productivity would come, right? So I have to keep in mind that also. I just can't let these good guys just sit idle and then be questioned. So the priority was maintaining of the security infrastructure at the branches which needs travel, which needs immediate response. So that I prioritized, and we got into a managed service with Etisalat, and with which we have their bandwidth service and plus these security services also. This is one thing, and then yeah, of course, and then as I said, that we kept the infrastructure future ready. Okay, I immediately upgraded certain part of the infrastructure, keeping in mind that things may get worse. So that we are free from a knee-jerk reaction, we don't have to do a firefighting. I kept it ready, and thankfully the management also approved it at that point of time, and I was able to convince them. But yes, there was something more could be done. had this not struck so suddenly, something more could be done. I had a couple of other plans like going for desktop as service, which would have definitely brought down
PTI
the,
kind of thing.
yes, which would have definitely brought down the cost of the hardware footprints drastically. But unfortunately, we didn't get the time to go for it, though the management had approved it on principle, but then, we had to keep it on hold. I don't call myself as the group IT manager or the CIO. I always like to call myself as the team leader of the IT team, as a leader of the IT team. And I always love to imagine myself as the first person of the team, not, I'm always the person who is on head of the team, not on top of the team. One more thing which is very important now is to monitor the productivity of your team members. That's very important, and including one's own self. Even, I do it for myself also. So this is very, very important, because with though we have brought back all who were working from home to office, now they're under direct this thing, but even then, measuring the productivity and evaluating your workforce according to the productivity is now very important, because it all is related to cost, and there is no IT without business, right? IT can't survive without business.
Exactly.
So so that's very important. Yeah.
So CIO's role is changing, as often be discussed, from a technology leader to business leader as well.
Yeah, Sanjay, this is what I have always been feeling much before even I assumed the role. This world has changed, Sanjay. Trust me. It is a it is a technology driven world which lives for profits. There is no charity involved here.
Absolutely.
There is no philanthropy. We all live to survive. We are here to survive, and IT helps you to survive.
Absolutely.
Unless the CIOs are able to appreciate this perspective, it could be, things might not be good. We have to change. There is no way. I cannot be a mere technology person, which anyway I am not. Which anyway, I mean, I am not. For me, technology and business goes hand in hand, and I would always give priority to business over technology. I design technology as per my business requirement. I do not design my business as per technology. I don't go and tell my board of directors that you need to implement this technology because this is the technology. I say that if this is the business, if you implement this technology, it would give you more return on investment. So that ROI concept is becoming important, vital, crucial by the day, I'm telling you. And if IT managers are not able to, or IT leaders, I should say, if they're not able to see through this, then I think, it's not very appreciated, I should say. Yeah.
Okay, so in that sense, that you are turning the cost center into profit center.
Yes.
IT is always being considered to be a cost center.
Sanjay, see, this is a very vital point you have made. You have absolutely hit the nail on the head. Yes, this is what, from the day I have taken up this position, I have told my team that, guys, remember one thing: you don't go out to the showrooms to sell. You are not selling across the counter, right? So what's your contribution? There were a lot of confused and bewildered faces. So I thought that it is my responsibility to relieve them of this. No one should feel obliged, right? So I said that every one of us, I feel every one of us has certain degree of commitment towards the organization to contribute to the profitability. That is where an organization survives. Okay, even NGOs look at profitability, right? We are no exceptions, right? And we are hardcore business people. So I tried and drill this thing in the minds of my team that, guys, you have to work in a way so that you can contribute to the profitability of the organization. And how can you do that? By reducing the cost of operations, by maintaining an uninterrupted business continuity. Just keep these two very basic things in mind. Business continuity, let not business suffer because of IT. You have achieved more than 50% of what you are being paid for. Next, plan for reduction of cost, plan for reduction of capex. How? Through managing your resources. Okay, for example, I'll give you a small example. Last summer I implemented this MPS, rather, this managed print services. Around 100 printers reduced to 20. So just look at the way IT has contributed in increasing the profitability of the organization, how you can reduce the cost. There's a huge reduction in capex. More than 100 printers reduced to 20. Now you can imagine. Just look at the cost of consumables, the maintenance, everything, spares. See where it stands. So this is just a small example like I gave. So
Yeah,
this is what
yes.
So this is what I have tried to instill in each of my team members, irrespective of they are just doing software programming or irrespective of the branch IT guys. The branch IT guys, I told them, how you can contribute to reduce the cost of our operations, minimize your errors of entry. Think what you are typing. Don't imagine yourself to be just a clerk. You are not a clerk. You are a very, very important element in the entire, a very important cog in the entire SAP wheel. Because in SAP, what you enter straight away hits the finance. There is nothing in between. So just see, one needs to appreciate his importance of role within the organization. If one is not able to do that, his productivity is bound to slack. We are all humans after all. If I don't understand my importance of role, how important I am, my performance is bound to slack. I can't hold on to it. Yeah.
What would be your piece of advice to the peer or to the boarding leaders, those who are struggling for something or other? They are not from budget. They are not able to convince their management. They are not able to convince themselves from the technology point of view. They are not able to buy the right technology or buy the technology or underbuy the technology. There are many factors, of course.
My humble suggestion to all who are there and all of us who are facing this issues or these problems, that we must need to prioritize on our requirements. It is very, very, very important now. I use the word thrice very to just to emphasize that how important it is. See, cash is something very rare. It's rarer than the quality of pure air now. So no management will willingly spend now. Second, I know what lies in future. As far as the present situation is concerned, none of us know really. Every morning is a new morning for us. Every day starts afresh. We don't know what lies ahead, but at least we should involve our judgment through our past experience and keep ourselves as much future ready as it is possible. We can do some anticipations. Some of them may not come true, but at least we know that yes, we have taken these safeguards. And as I said, that monitoring of productivity, yes, that's very important these days, because manpower is a cost and every management is looking into it ruthlessly, if I may use the word. Sorry to use that word, but yes, every management is they are bound to it. It's not on pleasure. They don't desire, but it's a compulsion, and we must appreciate this and not to isolate ourselves out of it. Of course, we are also one of them. So we should have that strength to to absorb that shock as and when it comes. And then yes, one thing which I would mention at the end is, please have adequate empathy towards your workers, because as it is, the overall situation is very stressful. Okay, try to accommodate and try to adjust to the extent possible with your co-workers. We are all in the same boat. It is just a little bit of that hierarchy which is there. That's it, nothing else. To all my counterparts, it's my very humble suggestion that please empathize with your co-workers. They are stressed. Try to be with them. One good word of solace, one encouragement, a job well done, means a lot. Even when my BOD tells me now that, well, this job is well done, even I feel good. I'm also a human. Every one of us are on the same boat. So this is, I think, very important now.
I really enjoyed whatever you said, and
My pleasure.
thank you once again for sparing so much of time,
Thank you,
and for
Sanjay.
the
Yeah.
industry also. People will learn a lot from this conversation.